In order to bring home $100,000 in revenue, that equates to approximately $20,000 in margin that you would be putting in your pocket, which is the same thing as selling 5,000 units. And what I wanted to point out to you is that on my high potential product list, these three shops, they sell 100% ornaments, no other products in their shops. This is how many years they've been on Etsy, so not very long at all. They have 150 ornaments listed, 200, 150, and these are the sales that they've driven in the past 2 years, even fewer than 2 years. So if we are trying to reach 5,000 sales in order to bring home 20K, can you imagine if you launch 150 ornaments and you actually sell 20,000 of them? What is 20K times 4? That is what we're going for here, and we're going to see what the results end up being. But I'm going to walk you through exactly how I am going to build this out. Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I'm building my HPPT list, which is high potential product type list for ornaments. I am a coach with Inner Circle Prints, and Jesse, the owner, he has given me the blessing to expound upon what he teaches us with his method. Jesse's method is research-backed, it's strategic, it's great for stay-at-home moms like me because we don't have to list 4,000, 6,000 items to get the results that we want. It's more like 200, 300. I am so invested in teaching other people who have limited time how to optimize their time with print on demand and how to take out all of the guesswork so that you know that you're going to drive results with the products that you put on Etsy. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to walk you through my entire process of launching 200 ornaments before November 1st, and I'm going to track the revenue from those ornaments. So I hope you can follow along and hopefully build out your own ornaments alongside me. Okay, so recently Jesse asked me to be on his channel. Right here's the video. It's at Jesse Teaches. He asked me to be on there to talk his audience through how could you make $0 to $100,000 in revenue on Etsy by the end of the year. And I put together a plan in order to accomplish that. And that's the plan that I am now executing and then I'm going to walk you through. I'm just going to touch briefly on an aspect of that presentation, but you can go watch it on his YouTube channel. Side note, you can grab this free resource that I created with 100 fonts that are optimized for ornaments by clicking the link at the top of my YouTube channel. Okay, so in the video I talked through all the metrics, but what I want to point out to you is that in order to bring home $100,000 in revenue, that equates to approximately $20,000 in margin that you would be putting in your pocket, which is the same thing as selling 5,000 units. And what I wanted to point out to you is that on my high potential product list, these three shops, they sell 100% ornaments, no other products in their shops. This is how many years they've been on Etsy, so not very long at all. They have 150 ornaments listed, 200, 150, and these are the sales that they've driven in the past 2 years, even fewer than 2 years. So if we are trying to reach 5,000 sales in order to bring home 20K, can you imagine if you launch 150 ornaments and you actually sell 20,000 of them? What is 20K times 4? That is what we're going for here, and we're going to see what the results end up being. But I'm going to walk you through exactly how I am going to build this out. And just so you know, ICP, Inner Circle Prints, Jesse is hosting a 4-day ornament build event in early September, right after Labor Day. So make sure you head on over to the site and you sign up for that if you want to jump into that. That'll also help you with your build. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to compile a list of 20 shops that meet certain criteria that sell primarily ornaments. And I'm going to walk you through how to do this. I've already done it here, as you can see with my master list, but I'm going to show you how you can do it. You're going to start by what Jesse calls net casting. Let's do it over here on Canva so that it's a little bit cuter. The entire method is built on research. So what we're doing right now is going to drive the sales that we're getting in Q4. Okay, it all starts with the net casting. And we net cast in the categories of people, professions, animals, and events. This has been the most successful way that Jesse has found for us to reverse engineer search volume. So the name of the game is we are compiling a huge list of micro markets or niches that have sold hundreds or thousands of times, and we are strategically going to craft our designs to fill a gap in those markets, but we're going to launch into hundreds of these markets. And we have to do it slowly and methodically and make sure that we cover all of our bases in terms of building our photo templates, how we're going to figure out what designs to create. So I hope you join me for the ride. Okay, I'm going to start with 5 different micro markets for each of these categories. People, it's just like names or titles. So let's do mom ornament. I usually do a couple larger categories and then a couple that are more niche down. Godmother ornament, father-in-law ornament, Nana ornament, and friend ornament. All right, the next one will be professions, teacher ornament, lawyer ornament, bus driver ornament, accountant ornament, and paraprofessional ornament. All right, now we're going to hit animals. With animals, a lot of these can be for little kids. So let's do dinosaur ornament, rabbit ornament, dog ornament. What's something more niche that we could do? Capybara, I don't know how to pronounce that. And possum? No, let's do raccoon. Just because it's easier to spell. And the last one is events. Okay, so usually this means holidays, but for ornaments, I'm going to narrow in on certain things that people are celebrating. So let's do anniversary, sweet 16, baptism, engagement, and retirement. Okay, so this gives me 20 different categories that I'm going to go search inside of Incognito. Now remember, you want it to be in Incognito so that Etsy search results are not skewed to whatever you've been clicking on. And remember, the purpose of this is this has nothing to do right now with building the micro markets on your list. We are just trying to find the shops that merit being on our list, and then we will export the data from those shops. If they make it on our list, we're going to put their shop names here. All right, let's head on over to Incognito, and we're going to start with our first one, which was mom ornament. Okay, when I'm looking on page 1, I am disregarding the ads, and the metrics that I'm looking for include 500 or more shop reviews, which we can see right here when you're looking next to the rating. This is how many shop reviews they have, and that gives us an indication of, is this worth me clicking on their listing and looking at their shop? If they only have 51 shop reviews, we know that they're not going to have as many sales as we need for them to make it on our list. So 500 or more shop reviews, and then once we get into their shop, we're going to see if 50% or more of their listings are in the product category that we are selling. And they need to have made 5,000 or more sales in the last few years. Okay, so what I normally do is I will open up the first 4 that show up if they're from different shops, if they meet the criteria. So these 2 look the same. This one has some more reviews, so I'm going to open that one. Open this one, 731 reviews, 558, that's pretty close to 500. 10,000 reviews. Make sure that you are not clicking on ads. We don't want to waste people's money. Ads. Okay, usually I just open up a handful. I'm going to see if they merit being on my list, and then I'm going to come back over here and start a new search for the next category. Okay, so this first one, let's go to their shop. First of all, I'm going to type in ornament right here. And I'm going to see that 199 out of 199 are ornaments, so they meet that criteria. Have they sold 5,000 or more in the last few years? So they've been on Etsy for 6 years and they've sold 9,000. If this was 5,000 in the last 3 years, that would be better. I kind of expect them to have made more sales than that in 6 years, so I'm not going to have them on my list. There are a lot of shops that sell ornaments, so you might as well have the best of the best on your list for the best micro markets that you can launch into. All right, this one, how many ornaments do they sell? It looks like they do sell some other items. 188 out of 600, so not 50%. 4,000 sales in a year, that's really good, but since they're not selling 50%, we're going to ignore that one. 16,000 in 3 years, so that looks really good. It looks like they're selling primarily ornaments, okay? And it does not matter that they're on a heart, because with ICP we only sell the circle. That's totally fine. We can translate onto a circle, but they're definitely going to make my list because they are 50% or more. They're 100%. And 16,000 sales in 3 years. Yes, that's what we want to see. All right, so when you find one that meets your criteria, then just start a little list over here of them. Merry Mania. And then I also like to just note how many sales in how many years. So if I need to kick some off later, if let's say I have 30 on my list and I choose to get rid of a few, I can get rid of the weakest ones. Okay, let's come look at this shop. 46,000 sales, and let's look up ornament. 56 out of 786. Nope. The Nostalgic House, 5 years, 50,000 sales. That looks nice. 25 ornaments out of 400. Not cutting it. Now, I will say, if you find something that feels like I want to have this on my list, it almost meets the criteria. Let's say the last 4 years they've had 5,000 sales in the last 4 years. The more data, the better. We're going to be able to sort through it quite quickly when it comes to filtering out extra items. So if you feel like it's on the fence, I would probably put it over here and put a question mark next to it and then continue your search. All right, cream cakes, ornaments. This is not all ornaments. Let's check this. 156 out of 200, 17,000 in the last 3 years. Yes, they're gonna make it on my list. All right, and so we are done searching the mom ornament category. Now, the reason why I say I would do some larger ones like mom and then I would do some more niche down ones is just because with multiple people doing this process, I want to give myself a chance to find shops that may not be on everyone else's list. And so don't just do like mom, dad, grandma, kid. Do a couple of the big ones where you know you're going to find the big hitters, and then do a few smaller ones with your net casting. All right, so when you're done with that, you're going to exit out of this entirely. Don't just open a new tab, and then go to File, New Private Window, because even if you just open a new tab, they're still going to track you. Okay, our next one, let's do one of the more, we're not going to do all of these. We're only going to do a few, but you're going to get the idea. Let's do bus driver ornament. But you would do it for all 5 of these. Okay, let's see what we're going to open up here. I usually stick to sublimation. I'm not going to click on the wooden ones. So they have 9,000 reviews. Clicking on them, 22,000 reviews, 21, 98,000 reviews. Let's click on them. And so remember, I'm looking at this number right here and I'm making sure it's not an ad. 528, that's pretty close. Let's do this one. Okay, usually I'm only opening up 4 or 5 for each one. So this one, boutique tea gifts, 46,000 sales in 3 years. I hope that they meet the criteria. 94 items out of 1,143. And so no, they don't meet the criteria. Also, this looks like a lower price. Let's look into it. Select an option, personalized gift bag. Okay, so they're selling them cheaper than we're going to be able to sell them. This is an example where I love that they have that many sales, but it may not be from their ornaments. It may be from their other products. So this might be one that I'm impressed by 46,000 in 3 years. If I decide to add them to my list, then I'm going to put a filter on my list and quickly eliminate everything except for the ornaments. So you could, don't feel like you have to be so staunch with these metrics that you can't do that. You totally could. So it's definitely up to you. Let's boutique tea gifts. Let's put them on our list with a question mark and their numbers. But I'm also going to note that it's only 94 out of 1,000 plus of their listings are ornaments. All right, and then on to the next one, Keepsake. Keepsake is an OG, all ornaments. Wait, hold on. They got tumblers now. Primarily ornaments, 6 years on Etsy, 526,000 sales. They're definitely on my list. And when you see this, when you see someone have wild success, just use it as inspiration to know that this can be you too. Why not? Like, why not me? Instead of throwing a pity party and envying them, that's not going to get you anywhere. Use it as inspiration. Like, they did this in 6 years. If they are making $5 per sale, they're killing it. All right, Modern Xmas, 3 years, 98,000 sales, and all ornaments. That is what I'm talking about. That's awesome. Possibly the same owner as Keepsake, I think, but we'll see. 98,000. They are doing something right. This is when you study their shop within your list. Later on, we're going to be crafting our photo templates, and I'm definitely going to pull inspiration from these shops that are crushing it. Last one right here, 2 years, 24,000 sales. Ornaments and 367. So here's another one where it's not 50%, but that's a lot of ornaments. So I am going to have them on my list, and then I'm just going to pull out the ornaments and leave all of the shirts and everything else. All right, Innovative Classics. You're going to continue doing this with your net casting on a new Incognito window time and time again until you have a list of more than 20 ornament shops. I think I ended up with 24 on my HPP list, but keep raking in the data. Okay, and once you have all of your shops, you're going to come over here to Everbee and you're going to go to Shop Analyzer. You have to have the middle tier growth plan in order to do this. I am going to type in Keepsake. You're going to do this for all of the shops that made your list. This is the one, so I'm going to click on it. Now, when it routes you over here, you're going to go to listings and you are going to export. Now it's going to send to your email. Okay, Merry Mania is also on our list. Click on them, toggle over to listings and export. Let's do one more. Let's do Modern Xmas. But you're going to do this for all of your shops, all 20 or however many you have. Listings and export. So the beauty of this is Everbee is giving us all of their shop data and letting us know which listings did they launch into the market that sold the most. So now you're going to go over to your email account and you're going to download the CSVs. And don't worry that the title of it says last 1 month. It doesn't matter, it still has all of the data. So I'm going to download them to my computer one at a time. And we're going to come over here into a blank Google Sheet and you're going to import all 20 or more of your shops. So that looks like going to File, Import, Upload, Browse. I'm going to click on the first one, which I see right here is Keepsake. Now here, when this pops up, you're going to click on Append to Current Sheet. That's the only thing that you change, and you import the data. Then I'm going to do that for all of them. So File, Import, Upload, the second one, Append to Current Sheet, and Import. So when I say Append to Current Sheet, it's just going to tack it on here at the bottom. I want to make sure that it does have all of the listings. So Keepsake has 400, almost 400 line items. And if I look at their shop, they have 378. So it does have all of their information. Okay, let's go ahead and import the last one that we did today. Append, import. Okay, I've already cleaned up my columns, but I wanted to do this so I can show you live how I clean up the columns and get rid of the unnecessary information. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I am going to get rid of some of these columns that I don't need. I do not keep the shop link. I don't keep the price. Estimated sales, that's a monthly average. Nope, don't keep that. Revenue, nope. Growth rate, nope. Total sales, yes, that's what you need. So I'm gonna select all of these and get rid of them. Total reviews, listing age. I want to keep the listing age. Okay, I'm getting rid of all of those. And then all of this true false business, I am going to delete it over to tags. Okay, so this is what you need. I just like to have a little gap right here. So you need the title, you need the product link so you can access it, you need the shop name. You don't really need the shop name because it's right here when you click on it, but I keep mine. Total sales, you have to have that. Listing age is vital. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by total sales, sort sheet Z to A. And I'm going to get rid of these extra titles up here. I'm going to scroll down to 20 sales. Where are we at here? Okay, so everything with fewer than 20 sales is not going to make the list. So I select that line and then I go to the bottom and I hold down shift and select that row. I go to edit, delete those rows. Okay, so with 3 shops, how many line items here do I have? I have 500 that make the cut with only 3 shops. Now let's come over here to the list that I did with my 20 to 24 shops. After I cut off the listings that made fewer than 20 sales, I was at 27, about 2,800 line items. Now, you're going to have to go through here and write down the micro markets for everyone, so you want this to be manageable. This is where I start applying filters in order to narrow down my list. Okay, so let's go back to the sheet that we were just working on. The first thing that you want to do is apply a filter to the product name. You might have t-shirts on this list, you might have tumblers, we need to get rid of them. So I'm going to go to this little drop down on the title and I'm going to go to create a filter and then click these little 3 lines. Filter by condition, text contains the word ornament, and I'm going to put it right here in the value or formula box. Ornament singular, not plural, okay? Because everything that's an ornament should be included there. Now, I'm sure there are Google Sheets wizards out there that can figure out a better way to do this, but this is just how I do it. Now you'll see as you go down that the filter is active and it's skipping over some of these lines. Okay, so down here you'll see it says 480, 481, 485, so it's skipping over the things that are not ornaments now. I don't know a way to make this number correctly, so what I've been doing as a workaround is I select this little rectangle in the top left, and that selects everything on the page, and I do Command C to copy it, and I add a brand new sheet, click the same one, and do Command V to paste it. So now it has 452, whereas before it had 504. So with these 3 shops, they sell primarily ornaments, so it only chopped off about 50. But when you have a list full of 20 different shops, you're going to see a significant decrease in your line items. Ultimately, you don't want your list to be more than 2,000. Personally, I like mine around 1,300 to 1,500. That's manageable for me to have enough data and then to sort through it. So one thing that you can do to winnow it down even further is adding a filter to this listing age column. So what you can do is go to create a filter, and you can keep only the listings that have been listed in the last 3 years. It's giving you more current data, more relevant. You may lose out on some of these listings that have cranked, but they were listed 4 and 5 years ago. But don't feel like there's FOMO there, because this first one is a new home ornament. You are going to have that micro market on your list anyways, so you're not missing out on anything. First Christmas married ornament, that's going to be on your list. And then another new home ornament. So on my original, I put a filter for the last 3 years and it got me down to 1,800 listings. I put on a filter for the last 2 years and it got me to 1,300 listings. So you could try out both, but how you do it is you click on the little 3 green dots after you apply a filter. And down here, you will just start to deselect everything that's over 36 months. So I will deselect all of these. I will hit OK. And then I'll do my little trick again where I copy it onto a new sheet so that it's numbered properly. And now it's down to 291. So imagine if you're doing this for all of your shops inside of one master list, it may go down by 1,000 or more listings. Okay, once you get it where you want it, then you are going to add a column titled Micro Market. So I'm going to click on this column header, right click, insert one column to the right. This one I'm going to name Micro Market. And then I'm going to add one more, insert one column to the right, and I'm going to title this Delete. I'm going to hop over here to my actual one that I've already done this for so that I can show you an example. I don't want you to see my shop names right here just because I want you to do your own research and find your own shops. So I've minimized that. But what you're going to start doing with your micro market and your delete column is you're going to start clicking on each link and determining what is the micro market for this listing. You are not writing down the design style in most cases. You're writing down what is the customer going to be typing into Etsy to find this item. There are a lot of first Christmas, married first Christmas, blah, blah, blah. So I abbreviated it with FC. That's what that means. So I'm going to hover over this, and it is a first Christmas engaged ornament. I'm not writing ornament every time. I'm just going to write engaged -FC. So it's first Christmas engaged. This one, our first Christmas as a family of 4. Actually, when I click into it, it's for a family of 3 Christmas ornament, which you can see here in the title. But by and large, you are not looking at the title unless you have an issue determining what the micro market is based on the ornament. It's really useful as you go down through here for you to look at the ornaments and your brain will start cataloging the KDAs, which are the key design attributes. You will become familiar with the items. So don't just rely on your title. You need to actually look at the ornament that's being sold. But the title can aid you if you're having trouble figuring out what the micro market is. So this one I put engage-FC. You'll see further down, here's an engaged one, but it's a calendar. And so I'm differentiating that. When I list an engaged ornament, I know that there is a lot of search volume for engaged ornaments. These two are at the top of my list, and there are many, many more throughout this list. So when you notice that there's something that's coming up again and again in your shop, you're going to have more than just one listed. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to go crazy and list 50, but it's okay for you to have more than one. On these micro markets where I know there's a lot of search volume, so for instance, inside of the apparel category and even tumblers, teacher shirts, nurse tumblers, nurse shirts, we know that those make up a huge majority of what Etsy customers are coming to search for. And for that reason, when we're building our HPP list, we're going to dig down a layer deeper on those and we're going to get more specific because we are going to launch more of those into our shop. But what you need to keep in mind is if I were to list an engaged first Christmas ornament and an engaged first Christmas calendar ornament, will I be able to differentiate the title and the tags, the SEO, slightly for those? Ideally, you will be able to. Now, there are going to be some cases with ornaments where your titles are quite similar, but you're not going to have a lot of those in your shop and not a lot of duplicates. The name of the game with Jesse's method is search volume. You want to be in hundreds of individual micro markets where you ration your keywords, you hold on to them, and you only use them for one listing that is the best listing that you can launch for a baby girl first Christmas rabbit ornament. And then you use all of your keywords for baby girl first Christmas rabbit ornament inside of that listing, instead of launching 5 of those that are then going to compete for those terms. You have one that is going to knock it out of the park or not. So that's how Jesse's method really is different from what a lot of people teach. And that's also why it's great for people who have limited time, which honestly is all of us. Why am I going to take my time to launch thousands of listings that are going to compete with one another and that are going to get me, let's say I have to launch 7,000 to get the same results that I would get by launching 200 strategically. Just go slower, be more methodical, follow the process, and you will see the results. I'm not saying that these other methods do not work. They do. This one is just the most ideal for people in my situation who have kids and limited time. Okay, sorry, soapbox. So family, first Christmas as a family of 3, and you'll see that I'm also differentiating between categories so that later on I can sort them with my sprint list. So like here I have engaged dash first Christmas, family dash, and then I have engaged here, new home dash, grandparents dash, friendship dash. So that whole like word and then a dash, it's telling you what category it's going to land in, so that later on when I'm designing for them, I can quickly get a sprint list together. All right, so wedding date, calendar, married, first Christmas photo. Okay, so here's an example. Our first Christmas married, and it has a photo on it. I'm noting that it has a photo because there are going to be some other married ones that are different. They don't have a photo. I want to have one of each in my shop. So this one, for instance, is first Christmas as Mr. and Mrs. That is different than the photo one. So I'm going to have both of those married ornaments in my shop. New home, first Christmas in our, first Christmas together, letter name initial, reindeer, cat memorial. So once you start coming across duplicates, so this one was a duplicate. It's a new home ornament that's watercolor. So the one right before it is, I think it's an actual duplicate, but let's say that this was a different listing and it was still a watercolor home ornament. That's what we're considering a duplicate. If there's a new home ornament that's watercolor, that's a duplicate. So I'm not even going to write it right here. Don't take your time to write it. Just put an X in the delete column. And that's why I find that it's powerful for you to do this in a few hours sitting down so that you can remember everything in your mind. And as you go down, you can think, oh, okay, I already have this one on my list. I just wrote it down an hour ago, so I'm going to put an X here. A new home ornament, that was a duplicate. New home, first Christmas at address. Engaged, baby girl baptism, pet watercolor portrait, Jesus, I saw that. So you're going to start working through here, and you're just keeping in mind what are the new ones that I'm coming across that I haven't seen before on my list. So I kept working my way down, and then as you get further down your list, you're going to start seeing a lot more of these deletes. And don't be afraid of these micro markets down here that have 30, 20 sales, because as Lauren says, these could be the diamonds in the rough. You know that they have some sales. You could launch into it and really take off. And they're the smaller markets. So like golden retriever, bus driver, thank you for keeping me safe, Santa, stained glass, photographer, real estate agent, football player, avocado. You're getting a lot more niche down here. I know some people who will just focus on the big ones, and the markets are so saturated there that you don't want to live there. You don't want to launch 20 new home ornaments, 20 first Christmas ornaments in this new home, 20 first Christmas married ornaments. Your time is better spent in a combination of the markets. Yes, you do want to hit on those top sellers, those top search volume categories, but you also want to combine it with the ones that are further down on your list. Serenity prayer, and then as you see, you'll just start coming across a bunch of different same micro markets, and you just put an X over here. And so once you have it all done, I ended up with 500 individual micro markets, and I can put a filter on this one, this delete column. You can then put a filter on the delete column to only include the ones that are blank right here. So if I were to do it over here, create a filter, scroll back up to the top, it's going to look like right here. You got blanks and you have ones with an X. I'm going to deselect the blanks and it's only going to leave me the ones with, I did that backwards. If you only leave the blanks, then it's going to get rid of all of your deletes. And then of course I copied those over and I have a tab down here called no deletes. Personally, I am trying to convince my husband to hop on board with this build, so I'm gonna let you know how that goes. But if he does join me, then we're gonna go through this together and determine which ones that we're going to launch into and with our shop. Even if you can build out 150, Jesse says that is considered a full build for ornaments. I'm gonna shoot for 200 and see where I land. But if you watched this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to download my free ornament guide for fonts. And let me know if you have any questions on this process. And just, I want to thank Jesse for having such a abundance mindset. We want all of you guys to succeed. If you're interested in coaching, I have a few spots that I can add coaching clients to. So feel free to apply on the Inner Circle Prints website if you're interested in that. But definitely follow along with my ornament build and let me know how yours is going too.